So let's have a conversation about men and violence. Once again, America is mourning the loss of 50 lives due to the actions of a single man who went into a club with an assault rifle and took the lives of 49 human beings. Now, the story headlines right now are Islamic terrorist on American soil wreaking havoc on Americans. The headlines are saying that this was an attack on the LGBT community because it happened in a gay nightclub. And so the media stories is about a homophobic Islamic terrorist taking the lives of American citizens. That's the headline. But let's try to understand the facts and the reality. So the reality and the fact is that a man walked in and killed 49 people. That's what happened, no question. We can speculate on his motives about killing gays or his association with ISIS. We can speculate on all of that. But the fact is, this is what happened. A man killed 49 people. So what I don't hear anybody saying is, well, actually what everyone's focusing their attention on are those 2 points, Islamophobia and homophobia, and of course the whole issue about guns and automatic weapons, which obviously is a real problem in our society. But what I'm not seeing is anyone asking the question, what is it that causes a man to want to take the life of another? And so once again, the media will say that his ideology, his religion, is the cause and the reason that he did this. Well, I have a different point of view. And my point of view is that the cause of all violent acts is the emotion of anger. It is the emotion of anger that is the cause of all violent acts. As a human being, when we get angry, one of our reactions is to lash out in anger. And so when this person acted out, I believe that the anger and hatred that he was carrying within himself is the cause, what caused him to go in there and take the lives of other people. And so it's been said that only a hurt person will hurt another person. And I believe that. And so I believe that every human being is 100% responsible for their actions. And society can definitely influence our behavior, but ultimately we're responsible for our behavior. But if we're going to get to the cause of violence, especially amongst men, I believe we must be willing to look at the emotional state that this man was in and try to figure out how can we support other men who may be in that similar state and keep them from acting out the same way. And therefore, the solution, as I understand it, is not one of passing laws or trying to legislate how men feel, but by creating a space, creating a dialogue with men to discuss the emotional state that they may be in. In other words, we have to create places in which men feel comfortable discussing how they feel. Because if you look at all of the mass killings that's happened throughout this country, then there's a common thread that these men feel isolated and alone, angry at themselves, angry at the world, and they're simply lashing out through some horrendous acts. And so if anger is the cause of these acts, which I believe it is, then the only way to eliminate these acts from our society is to deal with men and women that perpetuate violence, but deal with the emotional cause that causes them to act out this way. And so I don't think there's any easy solutions, but one solution is to engage men in a dialogue about how they feel. As simplistic as that sounds, it lays the foundation for creating solutions to keep men from acting out this way. You see, we live in a culture, we live in a society that promotes violence. As a matter of fact, I will even go as far as to say that America as a whole, collectively, loves violence. And why do I say that? Well, just take a look at our media. What do you see? Violence. The media, the content creators, gives society what it asks for. And society collectively asks for violence because America is a violent country. America, whether they will admit it or not, or whether we will admit it or not, absolutely loves violence. If we didn't love violence, we wouldn't have so much of it in our movies. We wouldn't have so much of it in our music. We wouldn't have so much of it in our magazines. And everywhere you look, it's violence. And if you look at the coverage of what's going on right now with this person that killed all these people, the media sensationalizes it and blows it up, and then people just feel more angry, and it fuels the violent machine. And I believe the only way that we're going to change that is to create this dialogue, especially with men. Because I believe that men are trapped in an old masculine paradigm that creates, or shall I say, causes men to feel hopeless and powerless. And it is their attempt to feel powerful in some way. And that's why they may commit some of these horrendous acts. So when it comes to violence, I still firmly believe that the key is for us as men to have a dialogue, a conversation about how we feel and ask ourselves, why do we feel the way that we feel? And the deeper we go, the more we can heal. But passing gun laws and passing laws about violence doesn't change the cause of the violence. The cause of the violence is emotional. And if we want to heal it, if we want to change, transform our culture, we've got to change how we address and deal with men and their emotions. Because unfortunately, men perpetuate the majority of violent acts in this country. and abroad, actually. So it's time for us to have a new conversation about what it means to be a man. It's time to bring men together to have a conversation about how we feel. And we must make it okay for men to be in contact with how they feel, because our culture says that that's not okay. And so as we begin the healing process from this tragedy, my hope is that more men begin to open up and to talk about the pain, the anger, the rage that's deep within them. Because in talking about it, we can release it. We can help these men heal, and we can help transform their lives by providing a non-judgmental space that allows them to know that it's okay for them to feel however they feel. But then we give them the tools to feel and express those feelings appropriately. And that takes work. That takes inner work that a man must be willing to do individually, but then he must do it within a community. And that's why I put together a new conversation with men, because I want to engage men in a dialogue where men can get comfortable with how they feel and expressing how they feel, the negative and the positive, and know that they won't be judged, they will be supported, they will be empowered to know that they're okay. And that's what men need more than anything. They just need to know that they're okay. They need to know that people care about them. We failed in a lot of ways by not allowing people to know that they're cared about. And so let's create some space to let men know that they're cared about and that there are people there that can help them and support them if they're willing to ask for that support. But laws won't change a thing. A great spiritual teacher, Lao Tzu, said this. He said that if you want to remove the darkness from your world, you must first remove the darkness from yourself. And I believe that. We must first remove the darkness from within ourselves, and then support others in removing the darkness from themselves. And when we do that, I believe we can start creating solutions to these challenges, and we can eliminate violence in our society. And I don't think it has anything to do with laws. It has everything to do with our willingness to heal our hearts and to remove the rage and the anger and the sadness that these men are feeling. And when we can do that, then we can change the world. So I remain optimistic that men can do this. I've seen it happen before, so I know that it's possible. So I hope you'll join me in creating a space that makes it safe for men to say how they feel and gives them the tools to deal with those feelings appropriately. That's the only way that this is going to change. So it's time for a new conversation with men so that we can remove the violence from our world.